What's up everybody, Arrg the Pirate here, and today we're going to be playing a little mid lane Iggy and Scorch. As always, let's go over the deck first. I have Quick Exit, Spell Shield with Ability Armor, Overpowered Spells with Health and Ability Armor, Deadly Mana. Now, I was kind of torn between Experienced and Deadly Mana. You know, Iggy uses a lot of mana, especially if you're throwing turrets down constantly, so I was thinking this might be a good option. Spellburn with 6 basic armor and an auto mana potion. Now for my cards, I have Advanced Evolution, Crippling Glare, Mana Flow Acolyte, Lamplighter, Thaumaturgy, Armored Footman, a Stagnant Domination. Now this is the key card, and you want to get this on as quickly as possible. Corrosive Walker, Poised Aggressor, Font of Experience, which of course this is your beginning card, Sleeper Agent, and Atomic Soldier. Now Iggy is one of the most defensive heroes in the game. You know, he sets up these areas with, you know, people just cannot pass. They're just massive danger zones, unlike a zoning hero such as Gadget or Decker, where they've got these small little containment zones for a short period of time. Iggy sets up danger zones that last a very long time, and by setting these up, he can really push lanes, but he pushes them defensively, and I am definitely more of an aggressive player, so I've never spent a whole lot of time with Iggy, and now more than ever, he is that real defensive player. Now, how to push lanes with Iggy is you set up your turrets, and then slowly, you know, increase how far your turrets are set. I typically don't play Iggy mid lane. It just so happened that this match was mid lane, and I do have a recording of an off lane game, but it only lasts 15 minutes, and it's really just me defending a lane like crazy. I ended up getting 0 damage on my tower, and I was able to down their tower, and I mean, it just made for really boring gameplay. Mid lane is much more action-packed and a lot funner to watch. You know, I still think he strives in the off lane, and he's one of the only heroes that I feel that can really deal with a solid Wukong push. So, you know, having him in that off lane, or having him as a counter pusher is really great. You know, having that super offense pushing hero such as Wukong or even Greystone, and then having this super defense, you know, lane protector, having those two together is just really awesome. Now I end up backing very early to get my next sustain card, and with Iggy you do use just tons of mana, especially if you want to keep those turrets out. Now with Font of Experience, I'm going to be leveling very quickly, as well as having this just crazy sustain card, that so I don't have to worry about picking up the river buffs near as much. And with a hero like Iggy, it can be very dangerous to go for river buffs because you don't have a solid escape, and without having your turret set up, you're not going to be able to get, you know, any kind of damage. All you can do is turn around and run. And I think that's the biggest issue with newer Iggy players is, you know, they think, oh, I'm indestructible, I'm Iggy, you know, no one can mess with me when, you know, my turrets are down, and that's very true. But if you don't have your turrets down, if you get caught out away from your turrets, you are just as helpless as any hero in the game. So going for river buffs can be much more of a challenge for a hero like Iggy. Now, I do end up picking up this river buff, and it's purple buff. I was thinking about rotating to off lane, but I said, you know, I'm going to go back to mid lane. Gideon's back, maybe we can get some damage on him. I'm able to get, you know, a little bit of my burn on him, and we're really playing very aggressive as Iggy. Now, you can play more passive, but like I said, I am more of an aggressive player, and so just Iggy's style of playing is much better to be played as a not quite aggressive player. And you can see, since I do have a burn on the Gideon, I'm not even able to go into the tower to actually do any damage to it. So it's kind of, you know, a toss-up between, am I really helping get this tower down by playing this aggressive, or would I be better backing off, allowing him to push up to me, and allowing a gank to come in? And as you saw earlier, our Kallari was able to come in and get a really easy gank on Gideon pretty early in the match. Now, Stagnant Domination is the key card to playing a good Iggy, because anytime you do ability damage, they're going to, you know, slow down. So that's your turrets, that's your burns, that's that little cocktail you throw out there. That's all ability damage. So if people are being hit, they're going to be just walking incredibly slow. And this is just absolutely key for a hero like Iggy, because if they get away from your turrets, they're not going to take any damage. You're not able to chase kills down. Sure, you can throw a turret and slow them down again, but chasing kills can be very tricky because you are very weak and don't really have a great escape. Now, this Gideon is just having a horrible time dealing with me, and you know, that's kind of that little overtuned situation. I really think Iggy, he needs something. I'm not sure exactly what. The range on the turrets might need to be turned down. You know, maybe the damage with the ult, or maybe just strictly only having 2 or 3 turrets instead of having 4. Because if you put 4 turrets up and you're able to ult, no one can get out of that. It's, you know, and that might be said, hey, they shouldn't invade that space, but at the same time, if you constantly have 4 turrets up, that means no one can ever engage on you, and I just don't know if I really like that. There's been a time, which I don't think it happened in this match, but a Countess was actually able to shadow slip into me and ult me, and my turrets killed her before I died while she was in her ultimate. You know, and that. To me, you've got a hero that's meant to delete people that can't delete one of the weaker heroes in the game just because my little fort is so strong. You know, that seems a little unfair to me. So hopefully we'll see a little more balancing done with Iggy. But right now, you know, you just gotta enjoy what you have. Here is a great example of just that kind of overpowered thing that I'm talking about. So Gideon is at about half health under his tower. Now I go ahead and throw a couple of turrets down, and I'm actually just kind of hanging out, you know, trying to keep some pressure up. I can't go into the tower because I will take damage. Twin Blast ends up rotating over, and I just turn around and use my ultimate. I end up getting a Gideon kill and a Twin Blast kill without ever engaging into that Twin Blast. You know, he might have been at half health. Like I said, I never even saw him. I just saw him on the minimap. And, you know, I'm able to destroy him without ever even looking at him. You know, that's really kind of that unfair advantage that I'm talking about. I don't know if I fully agree with it, or I definitely don't fully agree with it. I would like to definitely see a change come to Iggy. He definitely needs something. You know, I'm glad he's a viable character again, but I think the overpowered is just way too strong. Now, I end up taking out that Richter, and I did not mean to take that kill from Kallari. Kallari would have definitely got the kill. I just, you know, I wanted to make sure it was secured, but I did kind of feel that I stole it because, you know, I hit him one time and killed him. And, you know, I don't really believe in stealing kills, but if you take someone down from full health all the way down to nothing, and someone comes in and, you know, one-shots them, you know, it was unnecessary for me to be there. I just wanted to make sure we secured that kill. And I went ahead and apologized, as you can see. I wasn't really trying to take that from him. I just definitely wanted him to, go down right there. Now here's an example of me just being overly, cocky, and I'm really trying to get this tower down. And you see I get knocked into the tower. Sevarog and Gideon both decide to ult me, and I don't have my turret set up. I don't have my ultimate at this point, and I just absolutely get deleted. And this is really Iggy's downfall. You have to play safe with Iggy. You have to have your turret fortress up at all times. You don't need 4 turrets up at all times, but you need to at least have a couple. And you cannot play aggressive. Anytime you're under a tower, if there's an enemy around, if you hit them once, you have to get out of the tower, because they're going to take that burn damage, and that burn damage lasts long enough to where it will completely remove you from the tower. Now, a few minutes later, I end up getting their tower down, and you can see I've kind of got a good turret system going right here. I'm pretty protected. I feel pretty safe within these turrets. Of course, my ultimate is on cooldown, but it's a fairly short cooldown, so it will be back in no time, and I will be able to deal with anything that comes by. Now, they do have a little rotation from this Sevarog, and you see I'm able to hit my ult. This clears out the Gideon. This clears out Sevarog. They have to back away from me. Now Sevarog's trying to run. I throw another turret down, and we're able to take him out fairly easy. Of course, Kallari was there to help out with that slow, but we really end up just taking them out, no problem. And you can see that danger zone that I set up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and back. I want to kind of get some more power cards on and really start, really putting a lot more pressure and adding a lot more damage to my abilities. Our safe lane was being pushed. Now, we have a Chimera and a Wukong, or a Quang, in our safe lane. So we don't really have an ADC. We do have a Wukong in this game, but he's playing off lane, so we don't, it's not really a traditional game setup, and we don't have a solid support. But having that Kallari or that Chimera and our Quang in that off lane, we're actually able to do very successfully. And this is just allowing us to push really hard. We can play very, very aggressively just because we have so much damage on our team. Me and Wukong are able to really push this mid lane a little bit, and it's pretty low already, so we just make real short work of it, and then we're going to go ahead and get out. Now, they had some rotation in this mid lane. If you see here, I threw a turret down just in case they ran this way. And I'm going to go ahead and head over there, see if I can get some work done. Now, I don't have another turret up yet. I'm finally able to throw one down, and then I use my ultimate, and see that other turret is able to slow that Gideon down enough to where we get the very easy kill on him. I end up heading over to our safe lane to see if we can pick up this Richter kill. Now, they do have a little bit of a collapse here. There's a Wukong, a Sevarog, and a Richter. I ping retreat, but our Quang is kind of staying in, and Wukong's here now, so, everybody, we should have left this fight, but everybody kind of went in a little bit, and, as that, danger zone hero, I don't want to leave that fight and just leave everybody to their own, defenses when I could actually help. Now, Quang ended up pushing up entirely way too far, and he goes down, which, I don't really understand why he went that far into their, towards their tower, especially against 3 heroes, and I'm now out of mana, so I'm just going to go ahead and back and come back a little bit stronger. It is very hard to play as a super offensive as Iggy, just because that turret is on a substantial cooldown. I believe it's 6 seconds, so you can't just instantly throw all your turrets down and become, unbeatable. It does take a little bit of time to get set up, so that's why you set that line of turrets up and then slowly push forward one at a time. And, you can't do that when you're actually just rushing, but you can throw a single turret down, throw a Molotov down, use your ultimate, and it does do a substantial amount of damage. And if you have this slow card on, this also allows your team to continue to do massive amount of damage. Now, I thought I'd leave this clip in. It's really just kind of a very offensive push. I'm not really able to accomplish much other than keeping the pressure up, and this is really allowing my team to create pressure in other places. So if you see here, I push all the way up to their inhib, and then I go ahead and set up my turrets. Now, I'm not going to put my turrets in their tower. I don't want their tower to take down the turrets, but I am putting them just outside, so we're able to clear that minion wave. That's keeping my minions pushed up into their tower. Of course, I can't go in there just because I'm going to take massive amounts of damage. Twin Blast decides to challenge me, and of course I make very short work of him. But I'm going to go ahead and continue to try to take down these minions as fast as possible, keep my turrets up, and really just keep constant pressure on this mid lane. As long as I have mana, I am able to just solidly keep up, a very big presence, and no one's able to really challenge me within this, fortress of cannons. One thing I have found about Iggy that I don't know if I particularly care for is when you have all your turrets up and this fireball, AoE in the middle, it can be very hard to see enemies. And getting last hits is very tough when there's just fire everywhere, cannons everywhere. It makes it very distracting to get last hits. So I have not been unlocking the Molotov cocktail, or I'm not exactly sure, that might not be the name of it anymore, but I have not been unlocking it near as early as I used to, just because it makes it much harder to see the enemies in that mid lane. I've been basically concentrating on the cannon, or the turrets and the burn. I'll get 2 stacks in each of those, get my ultimate, and then maybe at level 7 or 8, that's when I finally put a point into that. Because, yeah, it just makes it very distracting. When you're in that laning phase, trying to get your last hits, it can be very tough when you've just got this fire and, you can't really see the health bars. And you don't know if something's standing in front of it, so you don't know if you're going to hit your target or not. I do like the fire. It looks very good. It's, it's kind of one of the most visually appealing abilities currently in Paragon, I would say. But the issue I do have with it is very distracting. With all the fire and everything everywhere, it does make it fairly difficult to see things sometimes. So I left this in because I want to show this spell shield. Now, I did not know this could actually happen, but if you see here, Richter tries to pull me and hits my spell shield, and I don't get pulled. I did not realize it would do that. I thought it would just block the damage, but I thought I would actually get pulled. So I just kind of wanted to throw that in there, show you, hey, this card can counter Richter. And I think that's absolutely amazing, because if you keep him from being able to pull you in, that's that's 90% of you dying right there. Because once you get pulled in, you're probably dead. But yeah, if you don't get pulled in, hey, his kit's not very good at that point. Now, Gideon does end up taking me down right there. I didn't have enough turrets down. We could have got out safely, but we end up getting 4 of them down at that point. That was a really great engagement. I'm not exactly sure why they came in staggered like they did, and Gideon did use that ultimate to actually down me, which was a great play on his part, but he sacrificed himself for me, which I don't know if that was the best decision. But my team ends up picking up Prime, and this is kind of the end. Well, here at 26 minutes in, this is kind of the end of the match. Like I said, we just marched down mid lane. We're able to wrap this match up. And, you know, I do enjoy playing Iggy a little more than I used to. He's definitely better. His new rework is definitely a lot better than the last one. You know, I'd never liked the oil spill, or the run fast button was great. But the other side of it, where, you know, you laid your oil on the ground and you could light it on fire, did that ever work? Ever? Did anybody ever actually get a kill with that? No. It just seemed kind of like an inconvenient thing for people. But the burn was so small that, you know, you wouldn't worry about him lighting you on fire anyways. So, this rework was definitely a step in the right direction. I don't know, I really think he's a little overtuned at this point, and he definitely needs something, but hopefully they'll get the balancing issues worked out. Well, that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, show me some love. Leave me a comment, think about subscribing, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.